I'm Shannon with Taste of Home, and today we're going to talk about meringue. Now before we get to it, let's talk about eggs. Older eggs are going to produce a fluffier meringue, so make sure you're not using eggs that you just purchased today. Let them sit in your fridge for about a week for the best result. Also, you don't want to work with cold eggs when you're doing meringue. You want to take them out of your fridge a good half an hour before you begin. Just let them come up to room temp a little bit. So we're going to start by separating our eggs. I've got 2 small bowls here. I like to break my egg into one and then just lift the yolk out. And I do this one at a time because if the yolk breaks, you're not going to get a fluffy meringue. Put your yolk in the other bowl and put your white into your mixer. And then repeat with your other egg. Now your yolks will not be used for the meringue, but they would be great in a custard or a curd. So I'm using a stand mixer, but you can also do this with a hand mixer or even just a whisk and a little bit of elbow grease. It takes a fair amount of time, but it is doable. I'm just putting on my whisk attachment. And to my egg whites, I'm gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. This just acts as a stabilizer. Now if your recipe calls for salt or vanilla extract, you would add that now along with the cream of tartar. So we're gonna start mixing our egg whites and just go until they're foamy before we start adding any sugar. So now that our eggs are frothy, I'm gonna start adding some sugar. I'm gonna do this a little at a time in a slow, even stream, making sure that it dissolves so that we don't end up with a gritty meringue. So as you can see, some of my sugar got stuck to the sides of the bowl. I just want to pause for a moment and scrape down the sides to make sure all of that gets integrated before we move on to really whipping the whites. Make sure the rest of that sugar gets dissolved, and then we're going to start whipping our egg whites until they are fluffy. You know your meringue is done when you get a nice stiff peak that holds up on its own and is still glossy. So now your meringue is ready and you can use it in a variety of ways. Whatever your recipe calls for, meringue cookies or to top a pie, bake as directed according to the recipe you're using. And that's it. For more recipes, tips, and tricks, please visit tasteofhome.com.